From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Afternoon Edition.
And right now in the Afternoon Edition, workers in San Jose getting ready to strike, but the mayor says to meet their demands, they would have to cut services. Good afternoon, I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Taking a live look right now at San Jose City Hall, where city workers have just authorized a 3-day strike. The results of their 2 union votes announced this morning. Jocelyn Moran breaks down what they're asking for.
Well, all morning long, we had been waiting for the results of a key vote on whether city workers would go on a 3-day strike. We do have those results, and 2 unions, members with the unions, have voted to go on strike August 15th through the 17th.
Striking is a last resort. Our hope is that city council members and Mayor Mahan will finally listen to us and address the understaffing crises impacting libraries, the airport, affordable housing, emergency response times, and more. But if they don't, we are ready to strike for our services.
City workers say they're understaffed and are asking for better pay. The workers' contract with the city expired on June 30th, and they've been working with that one since. Workers are asking for a pay increase of 7% for the 2023-24 fiscal year. The city responded with a counteroffer of a 5% raise. Today, union members said 99% of members who voted whether to strike or not voted in favor of it. City workers said it's hard to live here in San Jose with the high costs, including housing.
We've been on this ride to the point where we can't continue to support ourselves and our community with the resources that we've got. And we've been in there sticking it out with the city this long, and we've just reached the point where we can't do that anymore.
Mayor Matt Mahan says he understands the high costs of living, but he says going beyond the 5% raise would require painful trade-offs, like reducing library hours, hiring fewer police officers, and paving fewer miles of road.
I'm not willing to cut core services to make unsustainable increases.
Mahan also says there's no doubt that a large-scale strike will have an impact on services for residents. He says he thinks the right answer is to go back to mediation.
These bargaining units that have held out really didn't take mediation seriously, unfortunately. We had one meeting and they walked out without offering any significant movement or creative ideas. I've suggested, for example, that in years 2 and 3, if the revenue is higher than we project, we should automatically give a higher raise.
These unions represent around 4,500 workers. That includes workers with code enforcement, emergency dispatch, airport staff, and engineers. Of course, we are going to be learning more as to how other services within the city of San Jose will be affected. But again, this 3-day strike was authorized for August 15th through the 17th.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Well, it's back to school week for most of the Bay Area, and students in Oakland were among the first to head back to the classroom. Much different scene compared to this past spring when the teachers went on strike a few weeks before the end of the school year. They were able to negotiate a new contract before finals week, and today, the superintendent told us she's glad everyone can focus on moving forward.
You always have to look forward. You always have to have a spirit of optimism and hope. Even with a lot of the challenges, everyone's heart is really about how to improve things for students and families. So that needs to be the focus, and that'll continue to be our focus.
And the May strike lasted 7 school days before the district and the teachers reached a deal. But it wasn't just about salaries, class sizes, and staff. They also agreed to 4 common good proposals. Those include housing and transportation help for unhoused or low-income students, shared decision-making on spending grant money, more school support for at least 40% of the students are Black, and specific protocols to follow before closing a school. Okay, switching gears right now. Let's get the First Alert meteorologist Jessica Birch. And you know it's a good day when you can actually see the Golden Gate behind you.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason why I wore red today, Ryan. Let's take a live look outside right now. Sunny skies over the Golden Gate Bridge and pretty much all of our coastline, which means high pressure is starting to build its way into our local area. We're going to be sitting above average today. Let's zoom out just a little bit right now so I can show you daytime highs today. Later into this afternoon, we're actually going to warm up fast into the 60s along the coast, 68 just near the bay, but then 90s off into our East Inland Hills. Yeah, it's going to be a warm one for us today as the heat dome is still stretching its way towards us, giving us about 15-degree above average temperatures just near Concord. But luckily, all of our microclimates are doing something different. We're actually a little bit cooler cooler along the coast this afternoon. Our inland heat dome is still stretching its way over us for just a little bit longer. It's actually going to start pushing away as we head into the next couple days, and daytime highs at that point are going to drastically change. I mean, 80s for now, 70s by tomorrow just in Redwood City. Watch what happens as we head all the way off into the East Bay real fast. San Rafael, actually, I'll use this as an example real fast since I have this loaded up. 82 today, 67 by tomorrow. A big change around the corner. I'll have more on that coming up. For now, back to you, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Jess. Well, immigration activists getting ready to march into San Francisco. This is a look right now from our chopper. They caught them in Sausalito as they were making their way towards the Golden Gate Bridge. The Northern California Coalition for Just Immigration began marching on Saturday. They're calling on Congress to pass a bill to create a pathway to permanent residency. If the bill passes, it would give opportunities to about 8 million migrants already living in the country.
The registry bill, all it says is that if an undocumented person has lived in the U.S. for at least 7 years continuously, they may apply for legal permanent residency.
And the marchers will end at the federal building near San Francisco's Civic Center. And the White House says there has been an increase in cyber attacks on schools. Some of those attacks were so bad, schools had to cancel classes or close completely. And to help those schools, the Department of Education now proposing $200 million to increase cybersecurity. The White House also announced a partnership with Amazon to give $20 million in security grants to those schools. And the countdown is on for former President Trump to respond to a federal judge over allegations he threatened prosecutors. Natalie Brand has the details from Washington, D.C.
As former President Trump continues to lash out on the campaign trail,
those indictments aren't worth the paper they're written on. They're not worth, they took away free speech.
The Justice Department asked a federal judge to weigh in after Trump posted a message on social media that prosecutors felt was threatening, saying, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." Trump's lawyers have until 5 p.m. Eastern to respond to the motion.
What the Biden administration is trying to do is prevent the press from learning about exculpatory and helpful information, evidence that the people have a right to know about.
The Trump legal team is preparing requests of its own. The former president on social media says he doesn't think he can get a fair trial in D.C. and will be asking for the judge to recuse herself as well as for a change of venue.
A new CBS News poll finds that around half the nation believes Trump tried to stay in office beyond his term through illegal and unconstitutional means. But for most Republicans surveyed, a majority say they view the indictments as an attempt to derail his 2024 campaign.
It looks to me like every time something's going bad for Biden, they do something more to Trump to try to bring him down, which obviously isn't working. His numbers still look good.
Some GOP voters in Iowa acknowledge Trump's legal fights are crowding out other topics.
I think it's hard for the other candidates to take a stand one way or the other. It makes it hard then to stay focused on the issues. And I think we need to stay focused on the issues.
The polling also found a majority of Americans overall view the indictments and ongoing investigations as upholding the rule of law.
And former President Trump could still face another legal battle, this time in the state of Georgia. Fulton County's DA investigating Trump's attempts to interfere with those election results.